Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another questions and answers. And I also want to welcome all my new subscribers at this time as well. And today's questions will mostly be dealing with snowblowers as we're in the middle of winter here in Canada. And I'm going to get right into the first question. The question is, what kind of snowblower do I use? Well, here's my personal snowblower. It's an Ariane snowblower. It's about 10 years old and I did retrofit it with another engine. And this is the same snowblower that I made the video on installing LED lights. And you can find the link to see how I did this under the video. And I must say overall it's a pretty good snowblower. It's pretty tough. And it blows the slush and the stuff that the snowplow leaves at the end of the road pretty good. What I like about the Arians is that the metal is thicker and I've got a huge impeller at the back, which actually really helps to blow that slush. And you can go right through some hard stuff as well. The only thing is if you go through too much ice, you can end up breaking the shear pins. And they are known for blowing the snow quite far. And these snowblowers are actually made in the USA. And I'm close to the highway, so I get a lot of snow off the road that has salt in it. For that reason, I spray this stuff on my snowblower at the beginning of the year and throughout. You can see where it's building up there. It kind of turns dark a bit because dirt gets on there. But what this will do is protect your snowblower from rusting, and it might even help to slide the snow through the chute. So basically I spray it everywhere inside here in the impeller. You can spray it right inside the chute as well. Basically I spray it on the wheels and anywhere that I can on the blower. Now you might find it a bit oily or waxy, but it is a wax-based product, so it's not harmful to the environment. Now another thing you can do to keep your blower looking good and not rusting away is to touch it up in the summertime. I try to touch up all the rust inside the chute as well, and anywhere on the front auger housing as well. And it's very important that you touch up the inside of the housing as well along with the augers, because this is an area that tends to want to rust quite quickly. And don't forget to oil or grease the shaft that holds the augers, because you don't want the shaft to seize on the augers. This one here has a few grease nipples, which is handy. But overall, these are the snowblowers that I recommend the most to my customers. If you have the budget for a Honda, then you can get a Honda. But the next best option for the money would be the Arians. And then you can just go down the line from there. Now another question I'm going to answer now about snowblowers is my impeller turns, but the augers won't turn. What's causing that? And if you're not familiar with what the impeller is, it's the part down there. These are the augers. Now if the impeller's spinning and the shaft here is spinning as well, but the augers aren't spinning, it means you have a problem in the gearbox here. So you would have to remove the whole auger system here. More than likely what's happened is that your gears are stripped inside the gearbox. Also it could be that the key is broken as well. You may have hit something too hard and snapped some of the parts in there. And you could damage this gearbox if your augers are seized on the shaft or if the shear pins don't break when you hit something. So that's why it's critically important that your augers aren't seized on the shaft and that you have the proper shear pins. Another question I get is it necessary to have tire chains on my snowblower? Well, the answer to that is yes and no, and it depends on what kind of tires you're using. For example, if you have tires like these that are knobby, you do not need tire chains on them. Now, on the other hand, this snowblower here in the shop with the same kind of tires does have tire chains. By the way, I don't recommend this because it's creating way too much grip on these tires. When you've got these knobbies, you don't need the chains, and if you have too much grip, you can cause damage to some of the internal parts on your transmission. Just remember when you use a snowblower that the wheels have to always be turning. If they come to a dead stop, that means that something in the transmission is wearing out. Now, if you put tire chains and you're aware of that principle, then you might be okay. You just have to make sure the wheels are always turning. But if you did have turf tires like you see right here, definitely you need tire chains on your snowblowers. Some of the older snowblowers had a lot of tires like these, and they did spin a lot on the snow. That's why you used to see a lot of the snowblowers that were older with chains on them. Now another question that I often get is, why is my snowblower constantly pulling to one side when I'm trying to blow my driveway? Well, the most common cause of this problem that I see in the shop on snowblowers is that one of the tires is actually flat. It might look like it's inflated, but once you start to push on it with your foot, you can see that it's flat. There's no air, but until you do that, it looks like it's totally inflated properly. And because of that, it can be deceiving, and you might think that there's proper air pressure in both tires until you actually push on them. So it's good to check the air pressure regularly on your snowblower, especially when you take it out in the fall. And it's especially critical that you do this with the tires, because if they're too low, it can cause extra strain on your transmission parts, and over time it's going to wear them out prematurely. Now, another reason why it may be pulling to one side is if the pins here have been removed and then reinstalled in the improper hole. Some of these blowers are equipped that if you take out the pin and just insert it on the outside here of the shaft, one of the wheels will turn freely. So the wheel that you remove the pin from and put it into the shaft without going through the hub will spin freely. It's not going to have any traction at all. So in that case, the only traction would be from the other wheel, which has the pin properly installed, and thus it would be constantly trying to make the snowblower turn the opposite way of that wheel. So if you want traction in both wheels, make sure that the pin here goes through the hub and through the shaft, and make sure that that's the case on both wheels. As you can see, they specifically go through the hub and the shaft. Therefore, both wheels will have traction, and with the tires properly inflated, the blower will want to keep going straight. Now, a lot of people have seen me use this 3/8 Milwaukee Impact in some of my videos. I've gotten questions as to how do you like this impact? Well, my answer to that is I absolutely love it. It's such a convenient impact to have in the shop. It's got more power than my 1/4" impact, and it does most of everything that I need to remove, except sometimes some lawnmower blades are a bit hard to take off, so I've got to use my bigger impact. But overall, this one's nice and light. It's not too much bigger than my 1/4" impact, and it's got a lot of torque. I think it's 200 foot-pounds. And here's the model number, 2754-20, if you want to look it up. There's actually 4 settings here. This one here is the brushless model. It's the fuel model. So these are the 3 impacts I have in the shop here. I always start with the 1/4". If that doesn't do the job, I go to the 3/8 and then the 1/2". And I'll be doing some tool review videos on these 2 over here. I already have a review on this one. The link is under the video. But these are definitely must-have tools for the shop. They will save you time, and it's going to be physically easier for you to do your job. Now what I've got here is an old Stihl 038 AV chainsaw. I just want to show you what's happened to the piston and rings here. If I zoom right in, you can see the scoring on that left side here of the piston and rings. That damage there was enough to make the chainsaw not run anymore. What may have caused that in that specific area is carbon may have come off the port, gone inside, and cause that damage. You can see some carbon buildup on the top of the port there, but that's quite excessive in there to just make it not run anymore. And there were a lot of other issues with this saw as well, so we just kind of decided not to repair it. They do become, however, good part saws because you can salvage some parts on them, like the brake handle, the clutch cover, the recoil. And the reason I like to save these old saws is because they become harder and harder to get parts for. But my tip in showing you guys this today is to remind you guys to often clean the exhaust ports on your 2-cycle equipment and run the proper fuel oil mix as well. I run 45:1 in all my equipment, never had a problem. And I use the Stihl oil, which is made by Castrol. So use a good brand oil and some good premium fuel with no ethanol, and you should be fine. Now for my last question today, what I often get asked is, can you adjust the auger belt on every snowblower by using the idler pulley? Well, my answer to that is no, because not every snowblower is equipped with an adjustable idler pulley for the auger belt. And I'll use this snowblower here for an example. It's a Craftsman made by Murray. On these snowblowers, very often you'll find that the idler pulley here is adjustable. And one way to quickly identify if it's adjustable or not is you're going to see a sliding hole here to slide the idler pulley. When you loosen the nut here, this will allow you to slide the pulley either forward or backwards. The more you slide it toward the engine pulley, the tighter the belt will be once you depress the auger lever. And you can see that this one's adjusted in the middle, so there's still a bit of play either way. And you can see when you depress the auger lever that the auger belt becomes nice and tight. Most snowblowers that I work on, the idler pulley here is not adjustable. It's just one hole that the bolt goes through and holds the pulley. But you will come across certain blowers that it is adjustable like this. And it's a very convenient feature to have. If the idler pulley is not adjustable, sometimes you can adjust the auger cable. This blower here as well, you can adjust the tension of the belt through the cable. So it's kind of nice to have both options here. But on most snowblowers, you would only be able to adjust it through the cable. And one more tip, if you adjust the pulley so that the belt is at its tightest and it's still loose, then just replace the belt. So that'll be it for today's Q&A, guys. Thanks for watching. Also, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I put out a new video every week. And make sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and have yourselves a great day.